For the first time, we are hearing from a North Texas man who unwittingly stumbled into a brutal killing situation. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. 2 people are now facing capital murder charges for the stabbing death of a 53-year-old man in Garland. A man who alerted police had gone to the condo to pick up a spare key. He didn't realize he walked into a murder scene. Fox 4's David Santendry is at the Dallas County Jail tonight, or outside it, with the very latest. David?
Well, upon discovering the body, the witness describes just a bizarre scene, including drugs and ice cream.
They were just two cold-hearted people that I thought were friends.
Jalen Gray is talking about 2 former friends, Haley Barber and Leo Moore. The 20-year-olds are charged with capital murder after Gray turned them in to Garland police.
I know everybody's scared to go to the police, scared to be called a rat or a snitch.
Barber and Moore were temporarily living with Johnny Ross Jr. in his condo when, according to an affidavit, they stabbed the 53-year-old in his neck while he was asleep so they could steal his money and cars. Gray bought one of those cars, a Corvette, from Barber before knowing the owner was murdered. Gray says Barber told him the Corvette belonged to her grandfather, who passed away.
She said, "Going afterlife."
Gray met Barber at the condo to get a spare key for the car, and according to an arrest warrant, Gray smelled something foul. After asking Barber about it, he told police Barber casually showed him the body, which was wrapped in a rug and sheets in a closet.
He was like, "I know you're not going to tell on me, bestie."
Gray told police Barber was doing drugs inside the condo. Police say they found remnants of drugs.
I seen Haley Barber sniffing a white powdery substance off the dresser. She was sniffing it right as I walked in the room, like already sniffing it.
Gray says after Barber showed him the body, she offered him ice cream.
I said, "No, I'm good. I didn't want it." I had to keep my composure, which was kind of hard.
After Gray left, he interviewed with police, and Barber and Moore were arrested following a vehicle pursuit. According to an arrest affidavit, both admitted to the murder plot, saying Moore is the one who stabbed Ross Jr. But after realizing he was still alive in the condo nearly 10 hours later, they decided to finish him off. The body was only discovered several days after the killing. Ring camera footage shows Barber and Moore going in and out of the condo. Gray says he never suspected his friends could be alleged killers.
Never in my life, never.
And given their suspected drug use, he did not know if they would turn on him.
Would they, stab me?
Again, Barber referred to the victim as her grandfather, but that is not the case. However, Barber and Moore were living with the victim, according to neighbors and police. Both are here in the Dallas County Jail. Their bonds both set at over $1 million.
Several passengers on an American Airlines flight from Milwaukee to Dallas tackled and taped up a man who tried to open a door mid-flight. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. The FBI is investigating this incident, but charges have not been filed. According to an incident report, the Unruly passenger made a couple of comments toward a flight attendant, then demanded to get off the flight, lunging at the flight attendant and one of the doors on the plane. Fox 4's Amelia Jones spoke with passengers who jumped in to help. Amelia is at DFW. Amelia.
Steve, I spoke with Doug McWright, who said he didn't have a choice in this situation. He was going to do whatever it took to keep the man from opening the airplane door. He got emotional when I sat down with him today, imagining what could have happened. Doug McWright flies at least once a week for work. On Tuesday, he flew from Milwaukee back home to McKinney.
Everything was just totally normal as normal can be.
Until an hour and a half into his American Airlines flight. A man came up and started talking to the flight attendant near McWright's row at the front of the plane.
I could tell that the conversation was not going very well.
McWright says she asked the man several times to go back to his seat, but he ignored her. McWright says he saw her motion behind her back for help, so he jumped up and spoke to the man.
Got up and said, "Sir, she wants you to go back to your seat. You need to get back to your seat."
In a matter of seconds, things took a turn.
He turns and he says, "I'm getting off this flight. I want off this flight."
According to an incident report, the man rushed the flight attendant and lunged for an airplane door, hitting the flight attendant. McWright says he grabbed him from behind and held him back.
We were 30,000 feet in the air flying 300 and some mile an hour. There wasn't any time to think. You just had to do something right now.
Several other passengers, including Charlie Boris, had the same quick reaction and rushed to the front of the plane.
The flight attendant that was heading back told me that he was trying to open the door, and that's when, you know, kind of went all in.
McWright, Boris, and another man taped the man's hands and feet, then held him down for the last 30 minutes of the flight. It was then that McWright took in what just happened.
When I looked and saw those people in the aisle, it was just so emotional, because you knew how those people at 9/11 felt at that point. You really did.
When they landed, DFW airport police and the FBI were waiting for them.
It was kind of just a fight or flight situation, and you know, there were some people, everyone just really helped and put together effort, and we all get to go to Thanksgiving.
Something McWright is very thankful for, too.
For me, it wasn't like there was a choice. There wasn't a choice. It had to get done.
We're not naming the man involved because he hasn't been charged with any crime at this time. According to the incident report, he was taken into custody and will be given a mental health evaluation. McWright said he was elbowed in the face during the scuffle, and the flight attendant injured her back, neck, and wrist. I do have good news to report. She is now back home recovering.
The Dallas doctor convicted of injecting dangerous drugs into patients' IV bags will likely spend the rest of his life in federal prison.
A federal judge sentenced Dr. Reynaldo Ortiz to the maximum 190 years in prison. Fox 4's Lori Brown has the story.
The judge ruled that the actions of Dr. Reynaldo Ortiz were the same as attempted murder. And while not in the indictment, the judge said that he also found that Dr. Ortiz was responsible for the death of Dr. Melanie Kaspar.
It's everything I wanted to hear.
Federal Judge David Godby said the words that finally brought justice for Dr. Melanie Kaspar's family. She died after trying to rehydrate herself at home with an IV bag, what turned out to be one of Dr. Reynaldo Ortiz's poison bombs. He did it, Judge Godby said.
It was the conclusion that I think everybody knew. He knew it, I knew it, and now it's been put on record.
But Dr. Ortiz was not in the courtroom to hear it or the 7 statements by his victims. He waived his right, and prosecutors said the Crime Victims' Rights Act did not require him to be there.
What do you think about Dr. Ortiz choosing not to be in the courtroom today?
It was certainly cowardly. I can't believe that he wasn't forced to be in there.
Anything he can control and manipulate and turn, he will, and he did it today.
Roxanne Bogdan was Ortiz's neighbor for 10 years.
He's escaped the law many times for terrible things.
Bogdan said the system and certain judges failed to listen.
He retaliated against me for testifying against him in court. He was convicted of shooting my dog in retaliation for my testimony. I'm only sad that we couldn't have stopped him earlier.
Judge Godby also found Dr. Ortiz responsible for all 11 patient events, not just the 6 in the indictment, due to this video evidence.
He caused her great pain.
In court, Kaspar describes his wife's death from tainted IV fluids. She sat up twice during CPR with her eyes wide open but lifeless, he said in the courtroom. He described seeing this video of Dr. Ortiz filling up large syringes with dangerous drugs and putting them in his pocket, like watching the real-time murder of his wife. Kaspar said his friends and family got him through the crushing and consuming grief.
Anybody who's gone through depression, you don't get through it by yourself. You have to have many friends and family. And if you know somebody who's depressed, don't assume that they're going to get out of it on their own.
Now he will focus on remembering the good times with Melanie.
The batch of cookies every Sunday, the daily kiss goodbye in the morning, it was an everyday occurrence.
Kaspar thankful that starting now, justice has been served.
He got exactly what he deserved.
Roxanne Bogdan told me that as neighbors, she and Ortiz once were friends. She said that she reached out to him many times to try to encourage him to get help for his anger management and violent behavior. Ortiz now has the right to an appeal. In Dallas, Lori Brown, Fox 4 News.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Florida investigators, they do believe that 56-year-old Jeffrey Moynihan Jr. scammed the 74-year-old woman out of more than $500,000. Now, police over in Bradenton, over about 45 miles south of Tampa, they say that they were tipped off by authorities here in Frisco about a woman who had given a large sum of money away to someone posing as Elon Musk. Now, detectives learned the two had befriended one another on Facebook in 2023. And they were messaging one another for several months. Moynihan promised the elderly woman a $55 million return if she had invested in Musk's business ventures. The woman's husband told police his wife gave the Elon Musk impersonator $600,000.
What and who you see is not who's typing back at you. And I think these people, you have to realize that, but even more so, you can't give money.
Well, financial records show the money was going to Moynihan's painting business. Police say Moynihan says his online girlfriend was the mastermind behind this scam. Now, Moynihan has been charged with grand theft, and the real Elon Musk, the tech billionaire, is not under investigation in this case. And right now, we do not know the name of the elderly woman, the victim in this case as well.
Witnesses say a man was driving the wrong way, weaving in and out of traffic before he got into a crash and then got into a shootout. Good evening, I'm Steve Eager. You see the bullets hitting the ground as that man ran away. Surveillance footage captured the moments witnesses were scrambling for safety. Happened near the Southlake town square this morning, and tonight there are still many questions about what this 19-year-old suspect was doing. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager has more from witnesses who saw it all. Peyton.
Steve, this area of Southlake was extremely busy this morning. Stores were opening up and hundreds of people were lined up for a turkey giveaway when they heard that gunfire.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun!
Surveillance video shows two men dodging gunfire in Southlake's busy shopping area Friday morning. Investigators say 19-year-old Sean Jordan of Colleyville was in a shootout with a Southlake police officer. The chaos started around 9:30 a.m. Police received multiple 911 calls about the teenager's van driving the wrong way on West Southlake Boulevard.
I saw this van.
I saw this gold minivan
coming straight towards me the wrong way.
It seemed almost as if it was driving towards us in my Uber.
Witnesses tell Fox 4 the same story when they were face to face with the wrong way driver.
Probably not even maybe a minute later, the van turned around and I saw them just speed by me, like going the right direction. But speeding and weaving in and out of the lane. He was not stopping at the lights. He was going straight through them.
Southlake police say Jordan's van struck several vehicles before crashing out.
As we're just creeping through the backup, I hear a barrage of at least 10 gunshots, it seemed like.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun!
As a Southlake police officer arrived on scene, police say Jordan pulled a rifle from his van and began firing at another driver and the officer. Police confirmed the responding officer returned fire. No one was injured.
One of my construction partners just came running inside. That shot's being fired outside.
That construction worker is seen in the surveillance video closest to the jewelry store, taking cover. One of the store's windows was shot out. Neighboring businesses also shocked by the sudden danger outside their doors.
But it was a very, for a second, I was very shaken because you never know, you know.
Jordan will be transferred to the Tarrant County Jail. He is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, but police tell us more charges could be coming. Since a Southlake police officer fired their weapon, the Texas Rangers are now taking over this investigation.
A Tarrant County jury must now determine whether a man convicted of killing 3 people, dismembering them, and burning their bodies will receive the death penalty. He told police the killings were, quote, sacrifices. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager's in Fort Worth tonight. Peyton.
Steve, the jury and people in the audience have seen graphic photos and also chilling video in this trial. Now we are on to the punishment phase of this trial. So for Jason Thornburg, it's either the death penalty or life in prison without parole. Victims' families filed out of a Tarrant County courtroom after another gripping full day of testimony in the trial against suspected serial killer Jason Thornburg. Thursday, the punishment phase began right after a jury found Thornburg guilty of capital murder on Wednesday. Now his attorneys are trying to save his life. The same Tarrant County jury will decide whether Thornburg will be put to death or spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. In September 2021, Thornburg killed 3 people, dismembered their bodies, and stored them under his bed at a Euless motel. He then set the bodies on fire inside a Fort Worth dumpster. Thornburg admitted to investigators he was being called to commit sacrifices and even ate part of the bodies, which was detailed during the guilt-innocent phase of the trial. Thornburg's attorneys argued he was insane at the time of the September 2021 murders and had a severe mental disease. When Thornburg was arrested for the motel murders, he reportedly confessed to police he killed both his roommate in May of 2021 during a suspicious home explosion and his girlfriend in Arizona back in 2017. The 2 previous murders were brought up Thursday afternoon in court. Prosecutors called 2 Fort Worth investigators to the stand to testify about the confession.
They're bringing those up now, likely to try to argue that, he killed on more than one occasion.
Attorney Russell Wilson is not associated with this case. Wilson says for the death penalty, the jury would have to decide Thornburg is a future danger, and that the defense will likely argue Thornburg can be in a controlled environment in prison.
If you were, either medicated or kept in a area for a person who's suffering from mental problems, then you would argue that that person is not a future danger because they would be confined to prison for the remainder of their life.
And the victims' families tell me they cannot speak publicly until this punishment phase is complete. So testimony will begin bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. But we are expecting that the punishment phase will go into next week, and we'll stay on top of it.
Louisville police are investigating a woman's allegations that a man inappropriately recorded her as she walked through a Walmart with her baby. Good evening, I'm Steve Eager. The woman recorded her confrontation with that man, who appears to admit he's deleting any videos or photos. Fox 4's David Santendry is in Louisville tonight with that woman's story. David?
Yeah, the woman was shopping at this Walmart with her newborn son when she says she was secretly recorded, and now she wonders what that man may have wanted to do with the images.
Like, I'm in here shopping with my baby, and you're taking pictures of my.
A heated moment as Aisha Myers confronts a man who she says was secretly recording her while she shopped with her 5-month-old boy at Walmart off East Round Grove Road in Louisville Wednesday.
And I noticed he was taking pictures of me from behind inappropriately.
Fox 4 is choosing to blur the man's face and not reveal his voice because he has not been charged with a crime. In the video, he appears to admit to recording the woman and even says he will delete the images. Myers demands to see his phone to check.
Let me see your phone. I'm not going to take it. Let me see you delete it.
But he does not appear to allow her before leaving.
And he told me the reason why he wouldn't let me see him delete the photos is because he said he had other weird photos in his phone. And that just made me wonder, like, how deep he is into whatever it is he's doing.
I give her a whole lot of credit for being aware of her surroundings, and then also knowing in a case like that, what we would tell people is if you see something or you feel something is odd, go get some help.
Louisville Police Department is investigating after Myers filed a report. However, the department says the video alone does not appear to reveal a crime.
She is in a public store, so there's really no expectation of privacy for anybody in that store. What we can see so far in the video, there is no sign legally that a crime has been committed. Taking pictures is fine, but we cannot prove what kind of pictures they were.
So what type of video recordings and photos are illegal? The department says ones in private areas like restrooms or dressing rooms, or upskirt images taken in public.
I understand that, but it's definitely violating.
Myers wonders and even fears.
No, that you're a weirdo. Give me it.
What the person who allegedly recorded her was planning to do with the images.
It's just really crazy, the world we live in.
Police are still working to identify that man. Myers says she believes she may have seen him at this Walmart with someone else and that he left with that person.
Fourth, police arrested a man for setting a series of fires in recent days. The suspect reportedly told police he lit the fires because he was angry at apartment complexes who kicked him out for squatting. Fox 4's Dion England reports.
He admitted to going into the store locally and stealing a bottle of ignitable liquids.
35-year-old Adam Ewing, a man investigators consider a vagrant, is charged with 3 counts of arson of a habitation. Fire investigators say he deliberately set 3 separate fires at 2 apartment complexes within 4 days, including this inferno Friday night.
We interviewed him, and he admitted to being angry because he was kicked out of the complexes and was basically criminally trespassed.
Captain Wayne May says Ewing had been a squatter at this Flats on Mill complex in East Fort Worth until he was discovered and kicked out.
Found a vacant apartment in the apartment complex and was staying there, and I don't know how long.
Saturday night, a separate fire was set at the same complex. The damage was not as severe.
We had 3, fires, what we consider back to back to back. Within 4 days, we had 3 fires.
Fire investigators say key evidence in the case is from a Ring doorbell camera at this complex, the scene of the 3rd fire. A balcony fire at this complex, the Venue. Investigators say also Ewing's work.
He was seen in the area where the fire had started and going back and forth with cardboard box and some other common combustibles, taking it to where the fire had started. And then you would see the fire in the background.
Investigators say thanks to witness statements, the surveillance video, and as well the good work of Buzzy, one of the department's arson detecting canines, Ewing is off the street. A disturbing detail, they believe Ewing had intent to keep setting fires.
He also said that from my understanding, he had a list of other apartments that he was going to do.
In Fort Worth, Dion England, Fox 4 News.
Dallas police still have not said whether they believe a Southwest plane was targeted or hit by a stray bullet at Love Field. The shooting happened Friday night as a plane prepared to take off for Indianapolis. Passengers tell us it took a while before they found out what happened. Fox 4's Amelia Jones live now with the latest. Amelia?
Blake, we spoke to a family who was on that flight Friday night. They live here in North Dallas, and they were heading to Indianapolis to visit friends. They didn't know what happened until they landed, and another passenger shared the news. Southwest Airlines says the incident happened at 9:50 p.m. on Friday when a plane heading to Indianapolis was getting ready to take off. A bullet hit the right side of the plane near the cockpit in the entry door. No one on board was hurt. In fact, the Lee family says that passengers on board didn't know exactly what happened. All they heard was the pilot make an announcement that the crew heard a noise outside the plane and they were returning to the gate so the mechanical team could check it. The plane taxied back to the gate where everyone deplaned and boarded a different aircraft for Indianapolis. The Lee family says it wasn't until they landed around 2 a.m. that another passenger on the flight told them the news that the plane was hit by gunfire.
They kept everybody very calm on board, which I think was wise. I mean, when you're on board a plane, that was how Southwest handled that first portion very well. They just shouldn't have. I mean, our safety should be our choice after that. We should have been able to choose whether we got on another plane or not.
The runway was closed while police investigated. An investigation is still underway, and Dallas police haven't said if they believe the gunfire was random or if someone was targeting the plane. No arrests have been made. The Lee family says Southwest gave every passenger a voucher to use on future flights because of the inconvenience. Coming up on Fox 4 News at 9, you'll hear more from the Lee family and their experience. Plus, an aviation expert will share his take on the incident. For now, Blake, back to you.
All right, Amelia, thanks.
Mesquite police are looking for suspects after a 17 and 18-year-old were shot in a park in the middle of the afternoon. The shooting happened at City Lake Park. Witnesses say there was a group of young people gathered at the park before the shooting happened. The crime scene caused 3 nearby schools to be put on partial lockdown. Fox 4's David Sintendry is in Mesquite tonight with the latest. David?
Yeah, no arrests have been made at this point in time, and as you just mentioned, witnesses say there was a group of young people gathering at that park, and then the shooting took place.
Mesquite's City Lake Park became a crime scene Friday afternoon after police say 2 young men were shot.
They shot 4 or 5 times.
Terry Ripa heard the gunshots. He lives feet away from the park and says there was a group of young people gathering at the time of the shooting.
Kids scattered.
The park is only a couple blocks away from Mosquite High School. That school, plus nearby Florence Black Elementary School and Agnew Middle School, were placed on a precautionary, secure, kind of a partial lockdown due to the nearby police activity. It's unclear if anyone involved is a student, but the victims are believed to be former students, according to Mesquite Police Department.
The 2 males are 17 and 18 years of age, and they are not current students at Mosquite High School.
The department did not say if weapons were recovered at the scene or what led to the shooting, but investigators may have leads.
Officers were able to locate some witnesses to the shooting.
Young people at the park is never a surprise to Ripa.
It wasn't uncommon for them to be here. Okay, not at all. I see them walk by. Sometimes they cut through the yard.
It is very much a surprise, however, for those young people to be involved in a shooting.
I talked to when the police went out earlier. I said, why don't the kids just have a fist fight? I said, I agree with you.
As of now, we do not have a medical update on those 2 teenagers who were shot, but once we do, we'll be sure to provide you with that information. For now, Steve, I'll send it back to you.
A Garland County jury sentenced a Dallas man to life in prison for carjacking and murder of a complete stranger. Detectives had a lot of evidence, including a video the murderer posted on social media with the murder weapon. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager is in Garland County tonight with some of the evidence. Peyton.
Steve, and the Garland County District Attorney believes the evidence in this trial was overwhelming, and he's pleased that the jury thought the same thing. From surveillance videos to social media videos, investigators were able to track all of the convicted killer's movements. This Instagram video of 28-year-old Kevontre Elmore was posted 1 hour before he murdered an innocent stranger. Elmore flashes a firearm, the same firearm Garland County District Attorney Greg Euless says was used to kill 39-year-old Jose Antonio Acosta Galvan, who went by Antonio.
Obviously had no remorse about what he did. So those kind of people are scary. Those kind of people don't stop.
This month, a Garland County jury found Elmore guilty for the January 2023 murder. A judge sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The murder happened when Elmore approached Galvan, who was talking on the phone with a coworker outside his Dallas apartment. Elmore went to carjack Galvan's truck when he resisted, and Elmore shot and killed him.
I guess he wanted the truck, and it didn't matter to him if he had to kill someone to get it.
However, Elmore decided to ditch the truck that same night. Surveillance video shows Elmore setting the truck on fire in the middle of a Dallas street. He's seen walking away in white clothing. A few minutes later, the fire department arrives. These photos were shown during Elmore's trial of the truck after the fire was put out. An Instagram message also revealed Elmore was trying to trade the gun hours after the crime. Dallas detectives learned Elmore bought a scooter from someone in Dallas and then took a lift to his girlfriend's apartment in McKinney. McKinney officers staked out the complex near South McDonald Street and Industrial Boulevard. They captured this video of Elmore riding the same scooter outside the apartment. Plus, Elmore posted a video to his Instagram from inside the complex with the scooter. A week after the murder, Dallas and McKinney police officers arrested Elmore. Nearly 2 years later, a guilty verdict.
You're a cold-blooded killer in Collin County, and you're going down for life, and you're never getting out. It's just terrible. If you think about all of Antonio's family from here on out, they'll never be able to talk to him again. They'll never be able to see him again.
Steve's cell phone records also placed Elmore at the murder scene and also where the truck was burned. So all of this evidence was presented to a jury here at the Collin County Courthouse over a 3-day trial. And then it took about a day and a half for the jury to deliberate and come back with that guilty verdict. Steve?
All right, Peyton Yeager in McKinney. Thank you, Peyton.